You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
News from the NFL, where the Dallas Cowboys and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb agree on a new 4-year contract extension worth $136 million. $100 million is guaranteed. In baseball games of note, the Royals swept a doubleheader in Cleveland. They beat the Guardians in game 1 4-3, take the second game 9-4, and with that, move one game back of Cleveland for first in the AL Central. Braves beat the Twins 10-6 in a battle of wildcard teams. Atlanta now has a 3-game lead on the idle New York Mets for the final wildcard spot in the National League. Phillies beat the Astros 3-2 in 10 innings on a Bryce Harper RBI single. That's the NL East leaders knocking off the AL West leaders. Houston's lead in the division now at 3.5 on Seattle. The Mariners gained ground with a 5-1 win over the Rays. Yankees beat the Nationals 5-2. Aaron Judge collects his 1,000th career hit, and New York extends its lead on idle Baltimore for first place in the AL East. They are now at 2 games.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. But you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. That's Daniel Box, OD, 205-342-0660. That is Box Eye Care, boxeyecare.com. They have a great new location down on 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. Go check them out. And they will take care of you. You're going to get the same great service you come to know, love, and expect, but also now you have a lot more choices with their new in-house lab. That's Box Eye Care, bringing you the Martin Houston Show each and every day from 6 to 7 a.m. And we want to thank you for jumping in with us this morning. Want to encourage you to add your thoughts and conversation to it, and that means that we're going to be adding DC Capstone Report to the conversation this morning. We're going to look and have him join us and talk to us a little bit about some of the same topics from yesterday. I mean, there's no reason to do anything different, right? I mean, why change it? You know, we didn't get to all of it yesterday, so we'll get his thoughts and his opinions. They may be a little different than Kennington, so we'll add him to the conversation here in just a moment. So I want to thank you, though, so much for getting up and at it with us this morning. And if you want a review of what we're talking about, hey, Saban's first big weekend. What's your takeaway from Saban from his first debut? Did he nail it? Is he going to be the GOAT of analysts now? What insight gives you a little bit of how his brain worked and why we were so great for the last few years? We'll look at Alabama's SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We can recap the weekend, get what DC's thoughts were for the first weekend, then we'll fast forward to this weekend. And I don't understand how you can play football in week one and then It'd be called week 0, but hey, listen, everybody bought into it. That just shows you, DC, you and I always talk about something can be true, but not be the truth, because actually week 1 was last week, but we call it week 0. So go figure. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about week 1 in the SEC as well. We'll get DC's thoughts on, of course, Alabama's game, but if there's anything else that he would like to talk about as well. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone. Be the difference you want to see in the world today. So want to invite you to get in on the conversation. If you're out there, get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That is the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline. You can comment, react, or ask questions in the live stream chat as well. So once again, the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, good morning, Martin. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing great. Can't complain. Found out it doesn't do you any good to do so. So might as well be positive, right?
That's right.
Make the most of it and empower your day. Good morning, X. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
All right. All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and get into the conversation. And we owe Alan, we're going to let Alan kick the show off, DC, because Alan was a trooper yesterday. We had a little technical difficulty and he couldn't get in. So we're going to do right by our listeners and our callers, and we're not going to make him wait at all this morning. Alan, you're in with DC and X. What's on your mind?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we'll get through it. It's not a problem. Yesterday you was talking about Florida State, you know, in the portal. Hey, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And Florida State died by the sword. And they just got, they just got manhandled, no chemistry whatsoever, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
But
DC, let me catch DC up. DC, yesterday, we talked about the fact that, you have, to me, it's going to be two schools of thought. There's going to be those who say, let's go out and get all of these guys in the transfer portal, as someone called them, the transfer nose, or the rebel nose or whatever, that's going out, and they're going to build their team through the portal. Then there's the Dabos of the world who are going to build their team through recruiting and then fill gaps through the portal. And everybody is dog Dabo and said he's not. Well, Georgia Tech is probably more on the spectrum, with Dabo than the other. And I think you saw that play out on Saturday too. So that's what Allen is referring to, is that they had all that talent. The most talented team was clearly the Seminoles. But they just hadn't gelled. Now, will that matter at the end of the year? I don't know. Go ahead, Alan. Go ahead, DC.
I think Alan's got a great point there. I mean, I think that's a great subject to talk about. Is how does building your team with the portal affect team chemistry or affect the team? And I think clearly, as Alan has indicated or talked about, is that when you have so many players from the portal, it is hard to have good team chemistry or build a culture. Because no one really knows what the culture is, because they bring in the culture from multiple different schools. And sometimes you don't want that culture coming into your system, and you don't know until they get there of what type of culture it is a lot of times. And so I think what it does sometimes is dilute the camaraderie or the culture of a football team in a way that it's hard to gel and bring that together. And the way other teams have done it that you see, I don't think Clemson is alone in this. I think there are other teams that, such as Alabama and Georgia, who have picked needs and adopted those in as transfers. Did a good job of looking for the players for a specific need. not just building your whole team through the transfer portal. When you do that, you don't have the buy-in for the whole team. When you build a team from recruits, your buy-in is much greater. That's a given. How would you feel if you were a sophomore running back who had paid their dues, came in early at Florida State, and then a fifth-year senior comes in from another high-profile player team and pretty much is given the keys to run the ball, and you've been there the whole time? I think it deflates a lot of the team chemistry when you bring in a lot of transfers like that. And I think you saw that in Florida State.
Alan?
Yeah, I totally agree. But the reason I called in, Martin, was this weekend I was in Georgia. I had my Martin Houston hat on, had my Alabama stuff on, and we was at a place where a bunch of Georgia fans was at and Georgia Tech fans was at. I'm representing Bama, got to do that. And this is how the fight got started, Martin. They were talking about, Alabama's cheating. They cheated Florida State. They did this. And then one of the Georgia guys had to chime in and talk about how Alabama stole the kicker from wherever he was from, and they start giving me a hard time. I said, you know what? At least our mascot hasn't changed from the Bulldog to a bell bondsman, and that's how the fight got started.
What was the comeback to that? I'm assuming that there probably wasn't much comeback.
They couldn't say nothing. Just looked at me crazy, But that's how the fight got started. Look, I'm from the Andre Royal era. We don't back down from nobody.
Yeah, that's great.
DC, I may put the number on speed dial. I may need a lawyer when I go back over here this weekend.
Well, you can't get one in Georgia. They're all busy representing the Georgia players right now.
Oh, exactly. Oh, see? Wow. There you go. Yeah.
Hey, y'all, listen. Hey, Alan, DC, guys, we have RS Sports on with us this morning. We don't want to hurt his feelings, first thing this morning. He started off by saying, good morning, Bama Bros. Y'all say hello to, RS Sports this morning, and make sure he sticks around, cause y'all have went at him hard already.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend nobody this early in the morning, Martin. I totally apologize for that. I do enough of that on your Facebook page, so I got to stop doing that too. So.
Yeah, that's too funny. Oh man, I appreciate you, Alan.
Yeah, have a good one.
Alan, you keep representing out there on the trails, man. We appreciate you. Roll Tide. XDC and Alan both going hard first thing this morning. So, but yeah, both of those are conversations that I'll let you guys have. He said no hard feelings here. I guess it's sort of like, when it's true, you just kind of have to deal with it, right? Georgia had a rough summer when it comes to, arrest, in trouble with the law. So I guess they just kind of have to take it. So anyway, what were you about to say, DC?
I said it's hard to argue with the truth when you've seen it happen. And it's got to play out in front of you. And the scary part of the Georgia thing is the only the ones we know about are the ones that have been reported in the media. And from what I've heard, there were others also that were not reported in the media because of some things that happened after the first one was reported in the media. So I believe that that's a culture issue that they're working on in Georgia, and maybe they'll get it turned around.
Well, we want the kids to stop getting arrested, but we don't necessarily want the culture to get turned around. All right. Hey, listen, you're listening to the Martin Houston Show that's powered by, Box Eye Care. Go check her out.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very happy Tuesday to you, and we're getting started all nice and smooth across the area with one exception. So Boone Boulevard, I'm noticing a bit of a backup there on the southbound lanes, and this is right at McFarland Boulevard intersection.
Or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by Everwood, the official treated lumber of Alabama athletics. Everwood, wood treated right. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On today's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we'll be joined by CTSN broadcaster Chris Stewart.
Obviously, the improvement in the main guys, Coach DeBoer, seeing the improvement that he has and really liking what he's seen there. But I think also the fact that the offense will look similar in that it's going to be a case of just putting things in place that look like Kalen DeBoer wants it to look. They're going to be a team that's going to give you multiple looks. They're going to throw it a ton, but we've also got the ability to run the football at a high level. So Nick Saban evolved in the last several years, and I think that what we see now is what he wanted to accomplish, and that is really stretch defenses, put pressure on them in a big way, and absolutely Bama's got a lot of playmakers.
I'll have more in a moment.
Producing championship quality lumber is not an easy process, but at Everwood Preserving, it's our only process. Wood treated right. Everwood offers top-notch pressure-treated wood for decks, outdoor structures, commercial jobs, and more that you can build your reputation on. When it comes to quality, we're on the winning team. Visit your local Everwood dealer today and discover the difference for yourself. Everwood Preserving Incorporated, the official lumber of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Everwood. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays hot and dry today with a sunny sky, the high 97. Clear tonight, the low 72. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, the high 98. Thursday, partly sunny, a few isolated afternoon thunderstorms around, the high 97. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Bob's Eye Care. The Empowerment Strategy and Solutions hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904. That's the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline. We speak, we coach, and we train. That is the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions. You can go to empowermentstrategy.com, and that's the letter M, not EM, but the letter M, empowermentstrategyandSolution.com. That's my new company, and we'll be telling you more and more about that. I do owe North River Timber Company, was cut off in the middle of promoting them. So, hey, go check them out, man. They can help you with timber harvesting, appraisals, and land management. 205-242-5127. North River Timber CO at gmail.com. They will help you get the maximum potential out of your land. That's North River Timber Company, LLC. All right. We're back. DC, X. I'll let you guys kind of have that conversation, around the craziness of college football. DC, let's circle back on last weekend, get your thoughts on that, and then we'll flip the script and look forward with Alabama. But what was your biggest takeaway from this past weekend?
It had to be the Florida State lost to Georgia Tech, and just the travel all the way around the globe to Europe to play, and a really big deal, big game. Had a long time to prepare for it, and just the fact that Georgia Tech obviously didn't look like the most talented team, but they looked like a team that, if you hung around, could win the game. And so I think the stars that Florida State had brought in, especially the quarterback, did not look like that he looked like he was the quarterback that played at his previous two stops. And so I just don't think that, as Alan always said, don't think they gel very well to play that first game. But, in this new era of college football where you've got you can lose a week one game and still make the playoffs if Florida State's rest of the season is still ahead of them. So, but I was impressed with Georgia Tech, their ability to stay in the game and to win the game. It shows me that Brent Key's done a really good job, a coaching job. And then, of course, Coach Saban's analysis was spot on everything that he you tell how smart he is and what kind of knowledge he has of the game, and he's going to do a good job in taking it to the next level with game day.
X, I'll let you respond on either or both of those.
Well, I think that's it. We talk about Florida State and all the transfers they brought in, and DC said the stars. I don't know if I would consider any of the guys that were brought in fit that criteria. Like, we look at DJ Uiagalelei because of where he was ranked coming out of high school. Well, two of the quarterbacks that were in that same class, one was the number one pick last year and the other one was the rookie of the year. So you're looking and going, where does he actually fall? Did he peak in high school or peak as a freshman when everybody thought, oh man, this kid's going to come in and be great in those few games that he played? And then you look at the rest of the guys, Malik Benson. By the end of the season, he was Alabama's fourth, fifth wide receiver. Roydell Williams, we talk about him. He was the fourth best running back on Alabama's team. So they brought in a lot of high name transfers as far as the school that they played at the year before or where they were ranked coming out of high school, but they weren't as quality of players as a Keon Coleman, a Johnny Wilson, a Jordan Travis from Louisville.
But were those guys that way either? They weren't that way till they got to Florida State. But here's what and I'll let you guys respond to X and DC. Here's the thing you have to ask yourself. X, it matters when you're older. I mean, having a guy that's played 5 years of college football matters. So that part is true. I do think that, but here's the question I have. Number 9, I'm not even going to attempt his name, for Florida State was the best player on their offense. Okay. But as a result, when you bring transfers in, DC, it's almost, if that's going to be your philosophy, you're almost forced to play those guys. So you can keep getting them, right? Number two is the best player was number 9. I mean, the best running back was number 9. The second best running back to me was probably number 3, the freshman. But it's almost like the same scenario as what happened with Jalen Milroe last year. Jalen Milroe was stymied or slowed down in his progress until he started getting his fair share or the lion's share of the reps. So not only did you not maximize number 9 Saturday, and not only did you, and man, there's so many things on this argument that I can get to. Not only did you not get to the freshman, his number of reps, to me, who will be the best running back on that team by the end of the year if they use him correctly. And last but not least, X, DC, and I'll let you respond first on this, X, since you brought up DJ. The dude is learning his third offense in 3 years. What would have happened if he had stayed and fought at Clemson? He probably would be that guy. Because I think he does have that type of talent. I think he's a big-time talent. But I think he's a victim of he got benched, and instead of fighting like Jalen Milroe did, he left. What you respond, DC, you respond. X, you go first.
Yes, he could have stayed and he could have fought. And who knows, excuse me, if he had stayed and fought, where he would be. Would he be in the NFL right now? Would that talent have been maximized? We don't know now because he did choose to leave. But
twice.
And the second time was his coach left. You know, understand that. But somebody brought up a great point that, you know, his coach left, and then his coach wanted to take the backup from Oregon State last year and didn't even try to bring DJ to Michigan State with him.
How many years did a backup have left?
The backup has 3.
There we go.
But I made that statement to a guy that used to coach at Alabama on TikTok, a guy that used to be a recruiting coordinator at Alabama, coached wide receivers at Ole Miss. And he said, in the old days, I would agree.
Okay. DC, are you there?
I'm here.
Go ahead and pick up.
Well, I think I know where X is going there. You know, your coach leaves Oregon State and he doesn't take you with him. He takes the third guy. And I think what you're saying is, you know, he takes the guy who's got 3 more years ago. But I think in this day and time of the transfer portal where you want to hit big and try to win early, you take the best player with you, no matter how much time they got left, because I think that's what teams are doing. That's where I think we're headed with that one.
That's exactly where I was headed with that.
Here's the question. Here's the question, though. You guys are assuming that there was a huge gap between the two. Remember, when you bring a transfer portal in and there's not a big gap, then you play the guy who transferred in so that you can get the next year's transfer. When you get a new job and you have a guy that's marginally better, if there's not a big gap, then you take the guy that gives you almost the same thing, but you have him for 3 years. I get that you guys are saying DJ may have been better, and you want to win right off. But when you're a new coach, what if he negotiated with them? Hey guys, look at the turnover you've had. Look at the chaos you've had. Let me bring in my program and give me time. And I think that's probably what the Oregon State coach did versus taking a guy, because he's going to be in the same boat next year. You see what I'm saying? Like, you bring in that guy and then he's gone after next year anyway. So that's just my thoughts. X, will you finish with your thought and then we'll flip back over to DC?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was getting with it when you look at how things play out. So I think that was just an interesting take by this guy that has coached at multiple SEC schools. He was saying, old school, you take the younger guy. New school, you bring the older guy in because you're trying to win immediately and turn that program around.
And that's I know it's game week, so we're going to have to switch DC, but that's the schools of thought that are battling right now. Everybody is saying you win this way, this way, this way. And everybody's saying new school. Everybody's saying new school. Right?
Right.
What if the old school way works? What if Brent Key, what if it wasn't a fluke with Georgia Tech? What if Georgia Tech really is the better program than Florida State? Nick Saban has built a program. Auburn builds teams. Okay. And so what if that's the approach, is to build a program and go physical? Because everybody says you have to spread out and throw it. Well, Brent Key said, no, you don't. Everybody says you have to go to the pool. And Georgia Tech could flop the rest of the year. Who knows? But I think that's the battle out there is old school versus new school. What if a guy actually does a combination? What if a guy has the personality to connect with these young people and protect his back door while bringing in talent in the front door? Maybe we saw that happen with Alabama. The board kept everybody from leaving, and then he had a Courtney Moore who's bringing other guys in. He may have a physical style, but he's going to spread it out. I don't think there's one way to skin a cat, but everybody says there is. I'll let you respond on the other side, DC, and then we're going to get to this Alabama game. We'll be back on the other side. We appreciate you being a part of the program. Go check out Houston Hydro Steam. Houston Hydro Steam. Go check them out. Quality work you can stand on. 205-553-9467. Jackie Houston, brother from another mother, will be glad to help you. Once again, that's Houston Hydro Steam. Carpet and upholstery cleaning, 205-553-9460.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very happy Tuesday to you, and we're getting started all nice and smooth across the area with one exception. So Boone Boulevard, I'm noticing a bit of a backup there on the southbound lanes, and this is right at McFarland Boulevard intersection.
Deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show. Your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show powered by Box Eye Care. Go check out the venue, Tuscaloosa, the venue Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa's hottest new hangout for family and friends. Go check them out. And this Friday, the 30th, they will be hosting their first fifth quarter. And it's free entry there, DJ live music, food, and more, starting at 9:30 approximately following the Friday night games. And it's a post-game hangout. You can go check them out. They're located at 6052 Watermelon Road in Northport, on Watermelon Road, right past, Sokol Park. For more information, follow them on social media. Or go to the website, the venue. Go check them out. I think it'll be a great hangout. Just want to remind, this is not a kids hangout. So, don't drop your kids off and leave them there all night. This is for, adults and, a great family atmosphere. That's the fifth quarter, hosted and presented by the venue. All right. DC, I'll let you respond to. I just think that we have these competing facets of college football, and I think who wins out is going to determine, the health of college football. I think if we buy in, and the coaches buy into, you have to go to the portal, you have to, pay guys, you have to, and it just keeps going that way. I think college football will be drastically different, and I don't know if it can even be stopped at this point, because the student part to me just about needs to be dropped, DC. And the reason I say that is you have the quarterback DJ, he's on his third team, and he may have graduated in 3 years at Clemson. Hoorah. Congratulations. That's awesome. But then we have DJ Finley, who is on his fourth team, who'll be the starting quarterback against Alabama this Saturday. His fourth college team. Do you know who goes to 4 teams in the NFL? those who are washed up or those who are trying to land on a team? Very seldom in a 4-year span do you see a guy on his fourth team. DC?
That's true. That's true. I think us just talking about this, me and you next, just knocking around these things about the portal and you have people chiming in. All of that to me is evidence of the multiple dynamics that exist in the transfer portal that no one ever thought about when they decided, hey, this is a great idea. Let's let everybody have freedom to move where they want to. I don't think anybody ever realized the dynamics it was going to create, the different schools of thought on how to build a team, how to use it, how to take advantage of it. And I think in some instances we're taking advantage of players. I really believe that teams are doing that. We're talking about the players that land on teams. We haven't even started talking about the players that never land on a team when they transfer portal. And so I think that's a greater problem that no one can solve either. But so it is a lot of things to discuss, but I don't think you and I are ever going to solve it. Who's going to build a team? How are you going to build it? What's going to be the best? I think it'll be multiple schools of thought that'll continue on, and it might come out with one way to do it down the road, but right now I think there are going to be multiple ways to do it.
All right. And I will give Curtis Moore the a thought also, X, to your comment about DJ. The part we haven't talked about is it may have been his parents. We all have been involved with those teams and played with kids whose parents were such a nuisance that they disrupted the culture of a team. And maybe that's DJ's situation. I don't know. That's what Curtis Moore brought that up. These families are too involved. So, he thought that may be part of the problem. All right. DC, let's talk about strengths, for this Alabama team. What do you see, as, the strength of this team?
Well, I think the biggest strength I've seen, and I've heard people talk about it, is that may not have anything to do with the field, on the field play, but it's just the culture that Coach DeBoer is able to continue to build on that Coach Saban started. I heard Coach Saban talk about it on a game day when he said, "Hey, I went to a scrimmage and I have to adjust what I was thinking about this team because the culture that was there when I was there is still there and even built upon it." And so I think this team is going to play together, and it's going to have they're not going to lay down. They're going to fight. And I think that bodes well for this Alabama team. That's one of the biggest strengths. And as far as on the field strength, I think the defensive line is going to be a big strength. Multiple guys that are athletic, multiple guys that are talented. That'll be in. Some of Coach Saban's best defensive teams have been teams where there was multiple guys could play along the defensive line throughout the game, and by the fourth quarter, you wore everybody down. And no one wanted to play. In the fourth quarter, I think we've got a team built just like that on defense this year.
X?
And that the culture has been built on, I believe, since Coach DeBoer has taken over. And when you're looking at the way this team is built, I think the big part of that is, as we've talked, the guys that stuck around, the leaders on this team that are still here from Coach Saban. This isn't, not everybody bailed, not everybody jumped ship. So you still have, you have your quarterback, you have your key guys on the offensive line, the DBs, some of the linebackers. These guys know the tone that was set and that they want to continue that and continue to play at that high level and have that high standard that Alabama has set.
Yeah, we're going to get to J-Rob on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions Hotline. But, DC, really quick, if you look at it, could you name, think about if you were looking for leaders from last year's team to this year's team. If no one transfers, who would be your 4 captains this year?
Let's see. Tyler Booker, Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, Deontay Lawson, probably.
And who's our 4 captains?
I guess they are.
Yeah. So you see my point? It's literally like everybody talking about, oh my God, Alabama lost all these players. Name the dude that would be driving the culture at this university that left. Everybody talks about Isaiah Bond. You take away 4th and 31, and we're good. We're happy about Isaiah Bond, but he's not in that he's not in that elite category of the wide receivers we've had in the past.
I don't think he was never on the lead team. He was never on the leadership team. Right. I don't think he was ever one that had spoken that. I don't think he was the leader, so I would have never picked him as a leader for this team.
Right. So you look at him. You look at the tight end that left, not Black. You look at the offensive lineman that left. You look at all of the guys that left. The dudes who stuck around are your leaders from last year.
Yeah.
These are the exact same dudes. And what everything rises and falls on leadership. Yeah. I think that the board created an atmosphere that gave I think his lid, he lifted the lid on the leadership that these players can provide to each other. And I believe that may be enough to get Alabama over the hump. J-Rob, you in on the empowerment strategies and solution hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, guys. Hope all is well.
All is well.
Hey, I think it's funny Florida State got beat this weekend. It didn't bother me at all. I think that's the cryingest football program in college football history. I mean, they cried last year because they didn't get in the playoff, although Alabama won the strongest conference in America, beat a team that had won 29 games in a row. Back when you guys, Martin, were in the national championship game, they were crying because you got in that year.
Yeah,
Coach Bowden, God rest his soul, he was crying. He also was crying because Alabama wanted to interview him for the head coaching job when he was up for that back in the day. So that's the cryingest program in college football history, period, the end. I think it's funny they got beat.
Yeah, now I would say that Bowden did get interviewed. Alabama should have hired him, but he told him if they didn't offer him the job before he landed back in Tallahassee, he wasn't coming, is what I was told. I was being recruited during that time, and I'm personally glad he didn't get the job because I wouldn't have been at Alabama. But
I heard that he stopped on the way and called them and said that he wouldn't interview for it, and he left. Halfway up here, that's what I heard.
No, he interviewed. He just told him that before if he got back to Florida State, is what I was told. And like I said, I was being recruited during that time. I was told that he said, if you don't offer me the job, Joab, by the time I get back to Tallahassee, if that plane lands, I'm not coming back. That's what I was told. Yeah, you know.
I don't know that could be. I mean, that could be the true and untold story. I just know. You know how you hear things. You know, we're not that close to the program as you are, but it was kind of.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I said it's very ironic that two Alabama players scored. Ex-Alabama players, I would say, scored 14 of their 21 points. They cried and cried and cried last year about us getting in the playoff, you know. So anyhow, Saturday, what I'm looking for Saturday is a clean game. What I mean by that, I mean mistake-free, penalty-free, injury-free. I want them to be crisp, know the offense, come out and look like they know what they're doing, come out the huddle right. You know, had the right players in the right places. You know, we ain't had nobody running on the field at the last minute, that kind of thing. I want to see the first team get in there, make their touchdowns, look good, and get off the field. I want to see some second team players get in there and get some reps, hopefully. So that's kind of what I'm looking for Saturday. And the main thing is not have any injuries.
And I would agree with that assessment. J-Rob, I'm going to let DC and X respond on the other side. Thanks, J-Rob.
Y'all take care. Roll Tide.
Take care. Roll Tide. All right. Coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show. We want to go ahead and tell you to be prepared for a free-for-all Friday that's powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. the Pharmacy at Midtown. Check them out, pharmacymidtown.com.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Tuesday morning, D.R. Horton, that's the developer getting pushback on a proposed neighborhood development near Shelton State, has abandoned a similar development plan in Shelby County after similar opposition from residents. Horton already has neighborhood residents in Tuscaloosa County and across the state of Alabama. Click TuscaloosaThread.com throughout the day for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, getting reports of a situation in downtown. So if you're traveling in or near downtown, FYI, University at Lurleen Wallace, a large police presence is there. Now, it looks like it is possibly an accident, but whatever.
See if it makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Townsquare Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
With Martin and Xavier. It's the Martin Houston Show powered by Box Eye Care. It's now time for the Harvest Church 2-minute warning. DC, well, we got a caller, so let's jump to him really quick. Pat, you're in with DC and X. What's on your mind? Is Pat there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello?
Hey,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got Ty Simpson scoring 2 touchdowns this weekend, and Dylan Lonergan scoring a touchdown. How about that for rat poison this morning, Martin Houston?
I'll let DC respond.
That's a lot of it.
That's good, Pat. That's good, Pat. Well, based on my score that I get, my score prediction, I think your prediction might be correct. So I think Alabama's going to have a big offensive explosion, and we're going to see a lot of people play in the fourth quarter. So.
I've got it 48-7. What did you have?
56-17.
56-17. I got you. Hey, I like that.
You got those two guys scoring all the touchdowns by the backups?
Oh, yep. No. I got multiple backups scored. But I think that's what Pat's got.
I just was talking about who was going to throw the touchdowns at the end of the ball game.
Yeah.
You think?
I'll tell you right now, Pat. All 4 quarterbacks are going to play if you see Dylan.
Dylan's number 3, man. You just don't understand.
Right now,
Marshall Dillon's a real deal too. Wait and see.
All right, Pat. We appreciate you, man.
You guys have a blessed day, and hey, DC, have a wonderful week. Let's get ready for the capstone report with all them touchdowns you're gonna have to write about.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, well, tell them where they can find it. The capstone DC capstone report is already up and out there.
It is already up and out there. The DCCapstoneReport.com. You can follow me on Facebook, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. Or you can follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. We're on YouTube. DC Capstone Report's already up. It usually get up on Monday afternoons, and you can hear all about preview of the Western Kentucky game and my score on that game as well.
All right, DC. Let's get your prediction and what you kind of expect from guys first, and then we'll, if there's time, we'll do the SWOT analysis. Alabama's getting ready to play against a quarterback, Xavier pointed out to me, who's on his 4th team. This is his, 3rd chance to be beaten by Alabama with his 4th team. What you got for Alabama versus Western Kentucky?
Yeah, not only does Alabama get to play him 3 times, Kane Womack played him last year at South Alabama when he was at Texas State. So he started out, TJ Finley started out at LSU, went to Auburn for a couple of years, went to Texas State, and now has found his way to Western Kentucky. So He was announced last night as the starter. He was by Western Kentucky. They actually made him the starter over a sophomore that's also a good quarterback on their team as well. But I expect they're going to throw the ball around. Coach Helton does a good job of doing that, throw the ball around. I think they're going to try to stop the run. That's why they're built on defense to have a big 322-pound nose guard that transferred in. A defensive tackle that's probably the best player on their team, most athletic, so I think they're going to try to do that. But I think it bodes well for Alabama. Alabama will definitely be tested on the defense to see how we can match up. And I think we're going to notice immediately when watching the game how the defensive backs played differently than they did before as far as watching the ball. So I think it's going to be a big opportunity for us.
We got about 3 minutes left. X, respond to this. DC, your score is 56-17, right?
That's right.
So, X, do you think offense is more likely to score 56 or defense is more likely to give up 17?
Offense more likely to score 56.
Yeah. So, DC, tell me how you came to that score.
Well, I think the offense is going to have an offensive explosion. I think the game is going to be over real early, and I think that most of the scoring that Western Kentucky does will be by its backup quarterback late in the game. I just think that's the way this game is going to shake out. I don't think there's going to be a lot of tough game going on. I don't think it's going to be like close at all. And so I think Alabama will have a lot of time to play backups, and Western Kentucky does too. And that's how they get their scores.
Yeah. So what do you think the defense will give up? The first team
defense, I don't think they'll give up any points.
Okay. What about, one of the things I'm excited about is pressure, but I think this pressure with the 5 DBs is you remember the days when we were like turnover you and, non-offensive touchdowns, do we return back to that form of play even though we may not have the statistical dominance?
Yes, I talked about it on the podcast, and I thought that the disruption of the quarterback, Finley has a history of throwing the ball up when he's under pressure, and I think the pressure is going to cause him to do that, which is going to bode well for our defense. I think Malachi Moore, Keon Sabb in that rover position is going to have an opportunity to have multiple interceptions and possibly take them back for touchdowns in this game.
All right. Any closing thoughts for you, DC, as we wrap things up?
Well, I think it's just great that we get to talk about a game. We've been talking about practice so long, we talk about a game. And when we go out there and play, I hope that we understand as Alabama fans when we watch this team that we could be watching the beginning of another dynasty with Coach DeBoer. I really believe that Coach DeBoer is the real deal, and everything he's been able to do up to this point, if he can actually translate that to the field, we could be talking about another dynasty at Alabama.
So are you calling that? Are you making a bold prediction today, DC?
I'm making a bold prediction. I am. I really calling it. I'm calling this team going to be playing for the national championship. I think Alabama does that this year.
I want to give you a shot to be on the record before a game was played, before you saw them, that's where you were at. Tell them really quick, DC, where they can find you and or how you're able to join us each week.
Yeah, just check us out with DCCapstonReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page, David Cott 50. And thank you for my sponsors, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com, and Karen Cottingham, realtor right here in Tuscaloosa at the Williams Group of Keller Williams. You can always contact Karen for all your real estate needs. You can check her out right there on my website, DCCapstonReport.com. Click on her and you can look at all of her properties she's got. So thank you for letting me be on your show, Martin. I really appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate you. Hey, listen, it's been the Martin Houston Show. We appreciate you. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord always. Trust him with all your heart. Lean not your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all that you do, and he will direct your paths. And he's directing our path out of here. That's DC Capstone Report. That's Xavier Houston. I'm Martin Houston. That's Chase Brumfield. We'll all be back tomorrow with the exception of DC. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. As well, and Empowerment Strategy and Solutions Hotline will be open for business. Join us on Facebook. And remember this, roll tide out there, everybody. It's game week, and we'll keep breaking it down right here on your home for Alabama sports. Roll tide, everybody.